now May 2023, and what has happened to Garrett metal detectors? When are they going to come out with a machine that competes with their competitors? You have Nocta Macro, new machines, waterproof, multi-frequency, everything from beginner machines all the way up to high-end machines. You have Minelab completely recreating their whole line of metal detectors from beginner entry-level machines all the way up to high-end machines, multi-IQ, and tons of other new technology. You have XP Deus, came out with the Deus II. You have a waterproof version of the original Deus with new upgrades, multi-frequency. But Garrett is still sitting around pushing out the AT series machines, the Ace Apex that was supposed to replace the original Ace series that really wasn't that much of an update from the Ace to the Ace Apex, and their newest machine, the Axiom, which is a pulse machine, which most metal detectorists that are hobby metal detectorists do not use. So where does that leave Garrett in 2023 when it comes to trying to compete with their competitors? I've used Garrett machines from when I first got into the hobby. When I first got into the hobby, I had an Ace 150, had an Ace 250, an Ace 350, and then an AT Pro. Back then, when I got into the hobby, about 6 or 7 years ago, they were some of the best machines on the market. Affordable, could compete with higher end machines that were double or triple the price. And now they've pretty much gone by the wayside with companies Minelab, Nocta Macro, XP. They've kind of gone the way of a lot of American metal detecting companies. You have White's that shut down, that Garrett bought in 2020. They bought White's trademark, intellectual property, tooling, and other assets. Everything but their property, their building. And yet haven't used any of that technology from, say, the MXT Pro, the V3i, any of White's machines, even the MX Sport. They haven't used any of this technology to make any better Garrett machines. Look at other American metal detecting companies like Tesoro, Technetics. A lot of these companies aren't competing with all these manufacturers that make metal detectors that aren't American-based companies. Minelab's Australian. XP is Europe. Nocta, Europe. What is going on with American metal detecting companies? Sadly to say, like I said, I've used tons of Garrett machines. I've used multiple Minelabs. I've used multiple Deuses, owned multiple Minelabs and multiple Deuses. I've owned a CTX, multiple E-Tracks, Knox 800, XP Deus, and the only thing that's kind of weird to me is that after using all the high-end machines, I've gone back to using a Garrett AT Pro. I use a Garrett AT Pro with a Nell Tornado coil. Not necessarily because it gets deeper, but it gives you stronger signals on deeper targets and allows you to cover more ground. But the Garrett AT Pro came out in 2010. The AT Max, 2017. The Ace Apex. That really wasn't much of an update on any of the Garrett machines. Could replace the original Ace series machines, but really didn't give that much more than what the original Ace machines offered. Not a waterproof machine, just a coil, same as the original Ace series machines. And then they came out with the Axiom in 2022, which is a pulse machine that most hobby metal detectorists don't use. Mostly used for gold prospecting. It's what they push it for. They don't even try to jump into the Minelab market of getting relic hunters to use the Axiom. Whenever you see the Axiom, it's always pushed as a gold prospecting machine. So what's happened to Garrett metal detecting? I remember when the AT-Mex was about to come out, and everybody heard that Garrett was coming out with a new machine. We were all like, yes. I think that was before the Equinox, but we knew about machines coming out that were going to be multi-frequency, that were going to be more powerful machines, offer more settings than what was currently available, other than, say, like in a E-Track or a CTX or a Deus would be something on that level. And they came out with an AT Max that was pretty much a souped up AT Pro with a couple of different settings in it that really didn't make much of a difference. A lot of people that I've talked to that have used the AT Max after using the AT Pro originally switched back to using an AT Pro. They said the AT Max was too chattery, false more than the AT Pro did. Harold that metal detects with us tried to go and use an AT Max and didn't like it at all. He's gone back to his AT Pro and he's stuck with it. He's ventured off and used an Equinox a little bit, but has always gone back to using AT Pro. Like I've had plenty of high-end machines and I've gone back to using an AT Pro. It is a simple machine. It's great. But the technology for that machine is from 2010. That's 13 years ago. It's a 13-year-old metal detector. That'd be like a 13-year-old gaming system trying to compete with a new gaming system that's out now in 2023. It wouldn't be that competitive. Now, the AT Pro is still good. It can compete with a lot of the higher-end machines that came out during its time. It can compete with some of the lower or mid-range machines that have come out recently. But 13 years, nothing new from Garrett, other than the Apex and the Axiom. A beginner machine and a pulse machine geared toward gold prospecting. So what I'd like to ask you guys is, what do you think is wrong with Garrett metal detectors? Not necessarily the machines, but the company. Why is an American-based, American-built metal detecting company not competing? It's not even, say, overseas. They're not even competing here in the United States. They haven't made any new machines, any significant new machines, since 2017, when the AT Max came out. So, what's going on with Garrett? I love my Garrett. If they came out tomorrow with a brand new AT Pro that could compete with, say, the Simplex, the Minelab Exterra Pro, the Equinox. If they came out with a Garrett AT or something similar that could compete with, say, the Equinox, people would buy it in a heartbeat. But Garrett has no interest, obviously, in doing that. They haven't shown anything. They haven't teased any technology or any new developments on machines. You still have plenty of guys going around using a 13-year-old machine, like myself, the Hoover Boys, Harold that hunts with us. I know a bunch of guys that still use AT Pros. They're awesome machines. Definitely now that you can get them used and not beat up for a pretty decent price. But when is Garrett going to come out with something new? Their competitors are. Is Garrett going to just end up being no longer a hobby metal detecting company? Are they just going to rely on their machines that they make for security and for the military purposes? That would be sad. I just think we need American metal detecting companies not to go by the wayside, such as White's, such as Tesoro. How about Technetics? They haven't came out with anything either. But every couple of months, there's a new Minelab. There's a new Nocta macro. XP took a long time coming out with the Deus II. It'll probably be a while before they come out with something else. But at least they're coming out with new machines, new hobby machines for people who like going out and treasure hunting, metal detecting, looking for coins and relics. Sad to say, but Garrett still exists, but it's fallen to the wayside. If you find somebody who uses a Garrett, they have an AT Pro, an AT Gold, an AT Max. Maybe they have one of the Pulse machines for relic hunting. That's about it, though. I just hope that sometime here soon, we'll see something from Garrett. Would love to see something from Garrett. They're a great company, made a great product. But as of right now, you just gotta rely on our AT Pros. So what do you think? Would you buy a new Garrett machine if they announced one coming out? What would you want to see in a new Garrett machine? Something updated of an AT Pro that compete with a Knox. Doesn't even have to be a high-end machine. Something that competes with like the Manticore or the XP Deus II. Just something on above the level of an AT Pro and an AT Max that competes with an Equinox. That's multi-frequency. Wouldn't be that hard. Look at all the machines that have come out with or companies who have come out with multi-frequency machines. Come on, Garrett. Get your shit together.